it makes sense that then your worth is going to go up, right?
Right. And then
and like you said, you're instantly going to start to become more magnetic because you're feeling more magnetic because you're living in inspiration versus the shoulds.
Yeah, so I gave a coaching program for entrepreneurs who were earning $250,000 or more, and to pay me $5,000 a year to spend one day with me and about 30 other people every 90 days. And they said, well, at that time, they said, well, it's a lot of money. And I said, well, I'll give you a double guarantee. That you'll double your income and you'll double your time off within 12 months. And if you don't, I'll give you your money back. I said, well, that's a good deal.
Okay.
So they would come and I sit down. I would explain the double guarantee. And I say, now I'm going to make sure that I don't have to give you your money back. And I would hand out these spiral notebooks that we talked about. And I would say, I'm going to ask you to write down 10 goals that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. And I'm going to ask you to do it now and then discuss it with the people at your table. And then, as we talked about earlier, I want you to do this every day for a month. Write them down in the present tense as though they were already realized. And once you've done it for a month, you should probably do it every day for the rest of your life. And so they would come back 90 days later and they would say, I would say, all right, what happened in the last 90 days? The room would explode. I mean, it was like taking a dynamite detonator, boom, as the room would explode. Joy, happiness. I've never made so much money in my life. I've doubled and tripled my income. He said, I've lost 20 pounds. I've got a new house. I mean, they were just babbling to each other and to everybody in the room without exception. In 7 years and more than 1,000 clients, every one of them doubled and tripled their income within 30 days by writing and rewriting their 10 goals in a spiral notebook. So that brings us to the most important quality, which you mentioned, for success, which is self-discipline. Self-discipline is, according to the experts, self-discipline is your ability to make yourself do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not. Anybody can do it if they feel like it. It's when you don't feel like it. Now, I often ask my audiences, if you do something over and over again, repeatedly, what do you develop? And everybody in the audience, 1,000, 2,000 people, they go, a habit?
Yeah.
Yes. The difference between successful people and failures, and that's in another one of my books, is habits. You are your habits, and your habits are you. So there's a rule: develop good habits and make them your masters. Develop good habits and make them your masters. And the German philosopher, with regard to self-discipline, said, everything is hard before it's easy. But once it becomes easy, it becomes automatic. And basically, it locks in. So if you look at successful people, what is the difference between success and failure? Success people have positive habits. They get up earlier, they work harder, they stay later, they focus on high-value tasks, they continually get better, they take every course, read every book, listen to every audio program. They're totally, passionately dedicated to becoming really, really good at what they do.
So inspiring. So inspiring. Thank you. I love that. I'm just thinking about, already how many people lives are going to just change by just these simple things that you've already said, right? But they're not simple, right? Like, I mean,
Oh.
it's so easy for us to let other things or dramas get in the way of prioritizing ourselves. So any other strategies or anything that you've seen that has assisted individuals?
Well, Goethe said, everything is hard before it's easy, but then it becomes easy and automatic.
Yes.
What I've done in my courses, promising to help them double their income, and that meant a $250,000 increase in income. So you had to have that minimum to come to my course in the first place. And everybody did it or exceeded it, not within 3 months or 12 months, within 30 days, sometimes within a week. They couldn't believe the process that you and I are sharing back and forth. Write it down, make a list, focus on the most important thing. Now, something I learned in the course of coaching, which my publishers insist that I write about, and it's called the Law of Three. The Law of Three. And it says that if you make a list of everything that you do in the course of a day or a week, it's going to be 20 or 30 different things. But if you then look at this list, you'll find that there's only 3 things that account for 90% of the value of everything you do. Only 3 things. So what is the difference between people who earn a lot of money and a lot of respect and live in a big house and put their kids in private schools? They work on the big 3. Why do people worry about money and cheap and look for bargains and so on? It's because they work on the bottoms things and not the big 3. So how do you determine the big 3? Well, it's very simple. Start with a list, and then you ask the magic question. If I could only do one thing on this list before I was called out of town for a month, which one activity would I be sure to complete? Put a circle around it. Number 1 is always quite easy. And I've put thousands of people through this exercise. Now, ask the question again. What if you could only complete 2 things? What would be number 2? And that takes them a little while, and they have to review it. But they pick it up and they circle it. Now, if you could only do 3 things, what would be number 3? And they come up with number 3, put a circle around it. I said, now write these down on a separate sheet of paper. And remember, if you are not doing one of these 3 things, then you are basically wasting your time. And I would say you're basically a useless person, and you have no future. And it's a great tragedy for the members of your family to know that they're going to be poor forever. Because when you work on these things, you're guaranteed to be poor when you work on these low value, no value tasks. So I beat them up with that.
Right.
You want to
Crack
be,
the whip.
you like to be poor? Do you want to be poor? Guaranteed. Work on low value tasks. And you know what? You'll never be promoted, and you'll never earn more money, and you'll go from job to job, and you'll never be respected by anybody because you're working on tasks that have no value to anybody. They're just time consuming. You know that the research shows that 50% of working time is wasted in idle chit chat. 50% of working time.
You've heard that.
And that's the average. That's the average. Some are above, some are below. Your job is to become one of the most productive people in your world of work. That's it. Just get better and better. You know, everybody worries about money. They think about money. Well, they did some studies, and I've done thousands of hours of research. One of my favorite studies is that people, the average person, reads about money or studies money about 1 hour a month. They read the paper, or it's usually at bill paying time where they cry about how much everything costs and how little they have. And everybody's been there at bill paying time where you're sitting there paying the bill. And however, wealthy people spend 10, 20, 30 times as much time studying money. They read the financial press. They read books written by people who became financially successful and want to share it with others. They discuss it with their spouse. They set goals and work on them. I mean, in other words, they're serious about financial success. Now, if you want to be happy, there's a pre and post. It's the below level where you don't have enough money and you think about money all the time. A wise man once told me, a dear friend of mine, he said, Brian, your goal in life is to reach the point where you never worry about money again. And to this day, I still feel that like a spear. Never worry about money again. Do you know that 80% of people worry about money all day long? That's all they think about, all they talk about. And instead of earning more money, they say, "Oh, curse the rich, curse the rich." But in our country, everybody who was rich was once poor. Everybody at the top started at the bottom. There's something that changed my life. A very successful guy told me, he said, "By the way, do you know the top 20% of people earn 80% of the money?" I said, "I've never heard that before." "Oh, yeah," he said. "I still remember. Because it just was so." He said, "Oh, yeah," he said, everybody knows that. It's an old rule. It's called the 80-20 rule, is that 20% of what you do accounts for 80% of your results, 20% of your customers account for 80% of your sales, and so on." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, it's true." I said, "Well, if that's the case, I want to be in the top 20%. And my life changed forever. I was 24. I was broke. I was living in a little room in a rooming house. And I decided to be in the top 20%. Now, here's the magic question. How? From then on, the only question I asked was how. What should I read? I went to every seminar. I listened to every audio program. I read every book and article. I subscribed to every business magazine. I read them from cover to cover, just basically searching to find ideas that would help me be more successful. And you know what happened? It worked.
It does certainly has.
Yes, and it works for everybody. And nature is neutral. Nature is neutral. Nature doesn't say, "Thou shalt be a big success and you not, and you a little bit." No, nature is completely neutral. If you do what other successful people do, you get the same results that other successful people get. And nature's neutral. Nature doesn't care. So so the key is you. 100% is you. You are responsible. You're responsible for becoming financially independent, if not wealthy. I began teaching how to become a self-made millionaire many years ago, and I wrote it as a book, The 21 Success Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires, which you can get anywhere. I then recorded it as an audio program, which you can get from Google. I know Google Audible.
I have it downloaded.
Yes, and I have a man came up to me. I've heard this so many times, but he came up to me and he said, "You know, I got this audio program." He said, "I was broke. I just lost my job. I got this audio program, and I began listening to it." He said, "I listened to it in my car for a year." He said, "At the end of a year, I was a billionaire."
Mm.
My entire mind had changed. I
Mm.
started doing different things in different ways. I started focusing and doing more research and investigation. I kept upgrading my skills. He said, "I went from literally rags to riches to becoming a millionaire in 1 year, just from listening to this over and over again." It's like programming it in over and over. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody do this, and I couldn't care less if you buy my products, because in the publishing industry, you earn a nickel a program or a nickel a book. Unless you sell 1 million books, you're not going to be rich from selling books. But the thing is, just there's one of the things that I learned from Earl Nightingale when I was a young man. He said, "All the answers have been found.
Mm.
To reinvent the wheel." There's thousands now in America. We have, I just checked it today. It's about 15 million self-made millionaires. About 8.8% of the population are worth more than $1 million, and most of them started with nothing. And so, if there's that many millionaires, you might as well become one of them. Oh, what the heck? Who
Why not?
cares?
Why not?
Yeah. You're not going to pay high taxes, which support the people who aren't working or poor people. But the thing is, there's no reason not to be a millionaire. If,
Well, I
if
just love that you turned that struggle. I think so many people turn the adversity from being homeless, from that challenge, from that struggle. And some of that pain sounds like it catapulted your bigger why and your purpose, where then you did start studying and researching and having that be the focus and where your energy flowed and where your attention went and then what you created. And you had even shared that you had just written a new book that I'm really inspired to get. Can you show us? Do you mind sharing that? Because you also worked with Napoleon Hill, correct?
well, I've read everything from Napoleon Hill. The books, the that I've just written. I'm not talking about all of them, just this goal.
Okay.
This will make you rich.
Okay.
And what it will do, it will basically give you a series of different ways. Any one of these ways will make you rich. We talked about the 10 goal method. Should I tell them that?
I would love it. Yes, please.
Well, I have this, and remember, while I used to do my coaching program, I would say, I want to introduce you now to your new best friend. Your new best friend is this workbook, and it will make you rich. If it will work, if you will work. And then I would tell them the exercise, write down 10 goals that you'd like to achieve in the next 12 months. And tomorrow morning, write down 10 goals again without looking back. Do that for 30 days. And my promise is you'll double or triple your income within the first month. Why can I make that as a promise? Because everybody does it. Everybody who does it is just mind blowing. Should I tell them the story of about my client who came and visited me? This wonderful woman. Now, Ukraine. I work in the Ukraine. I support people, families in the Ukraine during this difficult period. She came to visit me, paid me a fair amount because I charge for my time, and she brought a camera crew, sound people, camera people, and so on. And what they did is she wanted to interview me and take this interview and put it on her podcast back in Ukraine. But what she told me was that 3 years ago, she was earning $500 a month. She's happily married, by the way, 2 children, nice husband, but she was earning $500 a month. And she was really frustrated. Then she found this book on goal setting. And in the book, it talks about writing down 10 goals every single day without looking back. It's so simple. It should be illegal. And so she started doing that. She said, as of today, 3 years later, she earns $500,000 a month. $500,000 a month in a semi-third world country. And she does it by exactly what you and I are doing, podcasting and sharing ideas with other people and helping other people to be more successful and so on. And because of this goal setting, she is so wired on human potential and what people can do and what they had inside them already. It's not as if you had to be a different person. You just have to get what's already in there out and make it available to others. She was earning $500,000 a month. Now, I've done pretty well in life. You and I and John DeMartini, our dear friend, have done pretty well in life. But that's an awful lot. I think, wow, I should practice my own exercise.
I'm gonna go get my spiral. I'm gonna go get it, and I'm gonna send you a picture.
Yes, please do.
And please, listeners, send me pictures, and I'll send them to Brian because I can. This is just. It is beautiful, and it's such a beautiful, simple reminder that is transformational. Because so many of us just wake up and focus on problems, and I don't want to get out of bed and blah, 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 right? And then we just stay in that cycle instead of really choosing, like you're saying, what's the yes? What's the choice? How do I want to start my day? What's my purpose?
Write it down. You see, when you write it down, you program it into your superconscious mind. And the first time you do it, like Goethe says, everything's hard before it's easy. You don't see much of a difference. But then the second time, third time, and the fourth time. And what it takes is discipline. Discipline. Every day, get up in the morning, drink a cup of coffee, write out your goals. Get up in the morning, plan your day, write out your goals.
Do it hard till it becomes easy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And at a certain point, it becomes automatic. You don't even think about it. You have the word, you have your spiral notebook sitting there with a pen, and you're ready to do it. And you start from the very first day, you'll see changes in your life. Things will start to happen. People will call you. You'll notice something. A friend of mine said, what he wanted to do was start a franchise business with something that nobody else had. And this is some years ago. And then he read a little article on racing bicycles. And at that time, people just rode Schwinn bicycles, the same bicycles we grew up with. And it was racing bicycles that were very popular in Europe. So he rode away, did a little bit of research, and he bought a single racing bicycle, and that was shipped to him. And then he began to go out and sell the bike. He got a contract to order more at a wholesale price, and he began to sell it to other people. Then he opened a shop. Then he opened 42 shops selling racing bicycles and became a multimillionaire.
Wow. It's what he loves. It's what he loves to do, talk about, sell.
There's a rule that 95% of products and services sold in foreign countries are never sold in America. And here's a great story. Once upon a time, there was a little baker in New York, and he sold bread and pastries and so on. And he was successful enough, and he took his wife on a trip to Europe, and they went to France, and they went to Paris. Everybody goes to Paris. And they were walking along. There was a big crowd of people at what is called a patisserie. The Europeans have bread stores and pastry stores separate. In his business in New York, they sold them the same in the same store. Anyway, it was a patisserie, and people were lining up, and people were sitting along the tables on the sidewalk and eating this pastry and drinking coffee. And he said, "Well, that's my business as well. Let's get in line." They went in line. They got up to the front, and people weren't buying one pastry; they were buying 6 or 12. I mean, and taking them out and then eat. I mean, it was like a family thing. Anyway, he bought it, went outside, sat down, tasted it, said, "Oh my God, this is good. This is delicious. It's the icing. The icing that they put on this pastry is incredible." So and this story may not be entirely accurate, but it's close enough. So he got back in line, went up to the front, and he asked the person, "Parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English?" And he said, "Yes, a little." He said, "Is it possible to get the recipe for this? I have a little pastry shop in New York, and I just love this pastry." He said, "All people ask for the recipe all the time." He said, "Here, I've got copies of it. Here, by all means, and good luck." And so he took it, and he went back, and he began to use the icing on donuts and other pastries, and the lineup started to form. It's like people started coming, and so they went. Once one of the people that walked in was an expert in franchising, and he said, "This could be a franchise, and what would we call it? Krispy Kreme donuts." Krispy Kreme donuts. It became like a forest fire. It raged across the country. The average franchise was earning about $100,000 a month profit. The average Krispy Kreme franchise was earning 500,000. And the lineups, even today, there's lineups everywhere because of this icing. And the point is always, "Can I have that recipe?" Sure. In other words, the opportunities are extraordinary. And if a guy said later, "I want $1 million for the recipe," sure, no problem. I'm making so much money from it. So the opportunities today are greater than they've ever been in all of human history for people.
Being open to it, being present to it, the right people, the right moment, the right conversations, the perfect connections, the right moment, and being open to that and expanding into that to create that. And but if it's not on your mind because you're spending time in low priority distractions, you're not going to be tuning into those opportunities and those people and those expanded,
Let me tell you a couple of quick stories for our friends who want to become wealthy.
Yes.
Number one, you're going to have to work your ass off. You're going to have to work so hard because you're going to have to work harder than the average person. So what we know in studying self-made millionaires and billionaires, and I've written all kinds of stuff on this. Number one, they get up before 6 a.m. and hit it. And they start working, and they work at least 6 days a week. They work 60 hours a week, minimum. That's 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. start early, work harder, stay later, and then work on a high priority task. This is so important. Most people are time wasters. They're surrounded by time wasters, and they get the idea that time wasting is what you do because everybody else is doing it. No, not for you. You are a superstar. You're a superstar just looking for a place to happen. You're a millionaire just looking for a place to happen. Write it down, write it down, write it down. That's number one. People who are successful work really, really hard. Second of all, and I learned this from my dear friend Charlie Jones, and he would do a riff when he's talking to an audience. He said, let me tell you the most important discovery in the history of business. He said, are you ready? Write this down. Write it down. He would say, get out a pen and write.
Okay, okay.
And he would say, here it is. Are you ready? Here it is. Here it is. And he'd build up and he'd say, nothing works. Nothing works. At least it doesn't work the first time. And sometimes not the first 5 or 10 times. Nothing works. Don't expect to try something new and different and expect it to work the first time. And I had learned that lesson when I was younger. When I learned something new, I would practice it 10 times before I passed judgment on it. I wouldn't just try it once and see if it worked. The reason I'm successful is because I try everything 10 times. I try it over and over again before I pass judgment. So be prepared to fail over and over again. Now, here's the second thing, and this Jeff Bezos teaches this. Jeff Bezos started with an idea that you could sell stuff on the internet. Now, for us today, that's just a joke. But everybody said the site at that time said, no, it's just like Facebook. It's just a communication device. You talk to your friends. He said, no, you should be able to sell products on the internet. So he said, what kind of product could I sell? So he borrowed $50,000 from his parents, and he drove out to Seattle and rented a little house. And he thought and planned and researched. He came up with the idea for books. He said, I could set up a book selling exchange where I didn't have to buy the books. I could take orders for the books and then send the orders to the publishers, and the publishers would send me commission. And so that's how he started. Eventually, he became so busy that he began to fulfill the book. And his deal was very simple, 30% off, delivered to your home within 7 days. And people said, okay, because most people don't buy a book and read it the same minute. So they would say, okay, for 30% off, delivered, I don't have to go to the bookstore and haunt the shelves looking for the book. And so that was the beginning of Amazon. For 7 years, they lost money. For 7 years, people told them it won't work, it won't work, it won't work. And finally, it turned the corner and it began to make money. At the 14th year, he became the richest man in the world. And everybody said, oh, you're just lucky. He worked, but here's my point with Jeff Bezos. He made it very clear that we're going to make an enormous amount of mistakes in building this business. We're going to fail at a whole lot of different things, but we're going to learn from everyone. There's no such thing as failure, he said. There's only feedback. There's no such thing as failure. The feedback is that this is not the right thing to do. The feedback, and there's a rule that says the person who is on the wrong road, who turns around to go back, is going faster towards success than the person who stays on the wrong road. So therefore, if you feel that you've gotten onto the wrong road, turn back. And this is so simple. If you're on the wrong road, turn back.
Listen to the wisdom, the feedback, turn around.
If it's not working, try something else. And be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. Be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. How can you tell? Because it's not working. If it's not working, change. Try something else. Try something different. Most successful people try a lot of different things before they say they have to kiss a lot of horny toads before you meet the handsome prince. Well, they have to try a lot of things that don't work before they meet the handsome prince of success. And the most important thing is ask 2 questions, and we're almost out of time here, but 2 questions. When you try something, and whether it works or not, whether it's successful or not, always ask the two magic questions, but only if you want to be rich. Only if you want to be rich. The two magic questions are: number one, what did I learn from this experience? What did I learn from this experience? It could be a relationship, it could be foods, it could be, but in business, their goal in business is to be financially successful. So, what did I learn? If it would, sometimes you learn things that were really good, but if you don't take the time to write down what you learned, you'll very often forget it.
Yes.
You'll make mistakes, and you say, "Gee, I know better than that. I, I should have done it." Anyway, so write it down, write it down, write it down. And the second question is, what will I do differently next time? What will I do differently next time? If it didn't work out, see, absorb, soak up every lesson that you possibly can. Your mistakes will make you rich. Your failures will make you rich.
I love that. Your
Mhm.
mistakes will make you rich.
Yes, as long as you analyze them and say, what did I do right? Because you always did something right. And what will I do differently next time? And what that does is it stomps on the accelerator of your own potential and starts moving you faster and faster toward the goal. And the goal starts moving faster and faster toward you.
You. Mm. Wow, Brian. So much amazing content. Such an inspiration.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Wendy.
I look at you and at 80 and the legacy that you're leaving and the lives that you've impacted and getting to chat with your beautiful, lovely wife. What a team. What a team you guys are.
Yes, yes.
Mhm. Mm.
I'm a very happy person, and I so much respect people who have big goals and want to be successful and want to be happy and want to have great families and want to live it forever. Let's all live to 100. What the heck?
What the heck? What the heck? And when I'm 80 and you've got another 20, at least 30 more years ahead of you. So I can't wait to see. I mean, you just finished 2 more books.
Yes.
You're an inspiration.
One
Didn't you?
more.
Yeah, what else? What else are you up to?
Yes.
What's the next project?
Well, I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I'll write these last few books. Get on with it. Get on with it. No procrastinating. Do it now. Do it now. That sort of thing. And then my next project will come up. I'm still speaking. It's interesting. When COVID hit us, I was speaking all over the world several times a month, and suddenly the speaking business was over. It was just nobody was allowed to be in a room with other people, and so I thought, well, maybe it's time to retire and focus on writing. And then I got back home from Hawaii, and I got a phone call, and they said, well, we want to book you to speak in 4 cities in Australia. I said, well, this COVID thing, it's illegal. But, oh, no, no, we want to do it online so that Zoom, so that everybody can tune in from their own computer. So I said, sure. And so I began to speak online. Within a year, I spoke in one time to 18,000 people for 1 hour seminars. So people can now attend seminars from everywhere, like 800,000 people in across the Soviet, or the ex-Russian countries. The world can tune in, and then you can store them, and people can play them and replay them like this. You may want to replay this. Um, it's wonderful. So now I'm busy just with you and with other people, and it's a great pleasure. So if you're really busy, opportunities will open up. There's a wonderful quote that said, um, "If you dedicate yourself, your skills will make room for you. Things will happen. Doors will open. Ideas will come to you. People will approach you. It's the most amazing darn thing." So the main thing is to have clear goals, organize your time, work on your most important tasks, and trust the universe. Trust the universe. The universe is on your side. The universe wants you to be successful and happy. All you have to do is get out of your own damn way, and it'll do it. Tell the universe
truth. Isn't that the truth? Just get out of our own damn way. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, thank
And
you.
I am responsible for my life, writing goals, and keep learning. I loved that trifecta of your triangle.
Guaranteed to work.
Thank you so much. It's truly been an honor. I could just talk to you all day.
I know. I could talk. I could talk to you too, Donna. Please give my regards to John.
I will.
He's probably watching, because we love him and respect him so much. And
he feels the same about you both. So
I look forward to seeing you again soon too.
likewise. Wonderful. Thank you.